Hey guys, it's Kristy here, welcome back to my channel. Today I thought I'd do a first impression and review of the new Makeup Revolution baking oil. I seen this in Superdrug a couple of days ago. It's their first product like this and I've never really tried anything like this, so I thought I would pick it up and give it a go and let you know my thoughts on it. I wanted to start off by saying I haven't posted on my channel in a while. It's been about a month or so. Basically that's because I've just been super busy. I've been flat out getting ready for starting a new job. I'm starting the new job in a couple of weeks. I'm moving from, I've always sort of worked in investment banking or finance, and now I'm moving into project management, so it'll be a bit of a change. It's really exciting, but I just had to take some time to sort out all of that. Also just to enjoy my weekends a little bit. Editing and things does take quite a while, like recording, especially if you're doing, you know, a wear test. It can take quite a while, and then the editing, I don't think I'm very good at editing because it literally takes me ages, so I just took a little break as well, just to kind of enjoy a couple of weekends there. But I'm back at it. I do want to stay with my schedule of uploading once a week, so hopefully you enjoy this video. It has been a long time coming, and let's just jump right into the review. So as I said, I bought this from Superdrug. It is £6. It's also available on the Tam Beauty website, so that's tambeauty.com. I'm just looking at what it says about the product online. It is part skincare, part makeup. Our baking oil contains a unique blend of natural oils that nourish and boost radiance for all skin types from dry to oily. Massage a few drops into the skin before applying makeup to create a silky smooth base. For a long-lasting finish, follow with baking powder to set, mattify and lock in your look. This can also be used to smooth cuticles and dry areas on the body. And basically, looking at the ingredients, it's all vegan and it's basically just a mix of all different types of oils. So I'm really excited to try this because it has been super cold here and it has affected my skin. I have been finding I have dry patches actually in the center of my face, so around my nose, and I usually have sort of fairly normal outer parts of my face, and then the inner part I have an oily T-zone. So it's quite unusual for me to be dry around my nose, but I have been finding recently that has been happening because it has been so cold here in Northern Ireland. We had Storm Emma hit, and so it was lots of snow and it was just mega cold. So I will be interested to see how this works with my makeup. I'm going to use the same makeup that I have been using this past week, and I have been noticing it has been quite dry, and I'll see if this helps with the dryness, but also I want to see if it makes me oily throughout the day. So I'm going to be doing a wear test. I'll wear this for as long as I can and see how it lasts. So let's just open this up. I do want to see how it smells. It doesn't really smell like much, but I can smell a little bit of citrus in there. It does say that it has citrus lemon peel oil, limonene, which might be something to do with lemon, citral, which sounds citrusy. So there are a few citrus ingredients in here, but overall it doesn't really smell like much, which is good. So I have obviously got my eyebrows on, my eyeshadow. I have literally just moisturised my skin with some Nivea Daily Relief Cream, I think it's called, but I'll link it down below. And so I haven't got anything on my skin yet. I will go ahead and put this on half my face. I do want to see how it compares to the side with nothing on. So I am going to put the baking oil on this side, and then I'll leave this side with nothing on, and then I'll see which side looks the most hydrated throughout the day, which side looks the most oiliest, and see how we get on. I just want to say the packaging's pretty cool. It has this little pipette, so it's easy to get the oil out and onto your skin. It does say to put a few drops on, so I'm going to start with 3 and see how I get on. If I need to add more, I will, but I think 3 is a good starting point. 2, 3. I'm just going to rub this in with my fingers. Especially when I put it on my under eye, because I've noticed my under eye has been quite dry and creasy throughout the day, but not creasy in terms of like the concealer, but it just looks quite crinkly. So put it quite a bit on there. So it does feel really nice on the skin. My skin feels nice and plump and hydrated. The smell is really nice, but it's definitely not a dry oil. I do use a dry oil at night time, and it sort of, you blend into the skin and then it basically doesn't feel like there's anything there. But this is definitely still feeling quite oily. I'm not sure if it's going to sink in over the next couple of minutes, or whether it's sort of meant to stay quite oily, so by the time you put your makeup on and you blend it all in, it's really smooth and sits on the skin really nicely. So I will leave it there for a couple of minutes and see if it does sink in any more. I will therefore start with foundation on this side of my face, which I have nothing on, just the moisturizer. I have been using the same foundation this past week, so I know how it sort of acts and what to expect with this foundation. I actually am using a combination of two different things. I'm using the Revlon Photo Ready Instafix Stick Foundation. This is in the shade 110 Ivory. And because I like to go a slight shade darker with my foundation, I think it brings sort of life to my face. Plus I have had self-tan on this week, which is still sort of slightly there. I have been mixing in a little bit of the Clinique Even Better Skin in the shade Honey, and that is CN58. So I have been finding this generally, you know, quite nice on my skin, but I have just noticed it has been a little bit dry just in my nose area, and in general, it's not to do with the foundation, but I have noticed my under eyes have been looking quite dry. So I start off and just fire on a few strokes of this. I did want to start with the plain side because I don't want the oil to get on this stick and sort of drag it across to this side of my face. I want this side to be totally non-oil on this side. I have such bad grammar, but you get what I mean. And then I've just put a small drop of the Clinique Even Better Skin on this Real Techniques sponge just to mix in with the foundation on my face. And this sponge is damp. So I kind of just, I tend to drag it first to kind of smooth it out, and then I bounce it in. I'm just going to put on a little bit more, just right in the center, a bit more on my nose. So there are the two sides there. I would say this is sort of a medium coverage. It doesn't cover everything. It just sort of evens out my skin tone, so you can see I'm quite a bit redder on this side, definitely. I don't know what's going on here, but it just sort of evens out my skin tone quite nicely. I do want to go ahead and do my concealer on this side before I move on to the other side. I don't want to get any oil on my sponge to sort of interact with the results, so I'm just gonna lay that down there. This is the Tarte Shape Tape in the shade Fair. So there we are there. I do want to feel, oh, that's definitely sunk in quite a bit. Still definitely not a dry oil, it's definitely still there. There's a little bit of, yeah, it basically just feels a little bit oily, funnily enough. But yeah, it has sunk in quite a bit, so maybe if I wasn't wearing makeup and I just wanted loads of hydration, I could get away with this if I let it sink in for quite a while. But I'll go ahead and I'll add the foundation and see how it all works together. Just gonna add a little bit more of the Revlon just right in here where I had the redness. So I feel like the foundation spread out and applied a lot easier with the oil. I am using a stick foundation that is quite dry, so that Revlon one is quite dry. It's not a very oily stick concealer, which I like, but sometimes it can be a bit hard to spread, so I definitely thought that the oil helped me to apply the makeup better. It is definitely dewier on the side with the oil. You can even just see there, I haven't applied any powder to this side yet, and you can just see that there's a bit of a sheen compared to this side. I'm definitely going to need some concealer here just to get rid of this redness here, and for my under eyes as well. So I'll see how that goes on. I definitely want to see if that goes on smoother because my under eyes have been a bit of a point of worrying for me. I feel like I'm getting more wrinkles these days, so I want to make them look as smooth and hydrated as possible. I am 30 soon, so I definitely want to try to make my under eyes look the best that they can. So I'm just gonna add some concealer. So I definitely feel like my under eyes look smoother and more hydrated on the side with the oil. It definitely looks plumper, and it's very hard to tell at this point in time, but we will be able to tell throughout the day how the crinkles are looking, but there are some very, very fine crinkles on the side without the oil. Sometimes you can tell by smiling but you can see here there are slightly more wrinkles on this side and not as many on this side. See right in here. But I'll go ahead and give you a really up close shot. So this is the non-oil side. And here is the side with the oil. So now I want to go ahead and add some powder to both sides and see how they're looking. I bought the e.l.f. Soft Luminous powder recently and I really like it. It just gives a bit of, it doesn't look sort of matte and flat, it looks matte but still like my skin has a bit of life. So I'm going to go ahead and dust this on with my Real Techniques contour brush. I just like this for powder because it can get right in under the eyes, and I'll let you know how it's looking. So I'm back, I powdered, I've done my contour, blush, highlight, lipstick. I will have everything in the description bar down below. I did notice my powder went on fine. I thought it might have clung slightly to the side with the oil, but not negligible really. And I noticed that my contour, highlight and everything went on fine over top, but I noticed that my blush sort of clung a little bit to the side with the oil. So it's just something to be aware of, that maybe just go a little lighter handed with the amount of blush you're putting on or powders, because this side, I guess it's slightly stickier, so it will cling on to certain things. But I feel like, to be honest, once I'm finished and it's all said and done, the two sides look pretty similar. I am noticing that I still have a little bit of dryness on both sides of my nose. I guess time will tell as I wear it throughout the day. I'll go ahead and give you one last close-up and then I will see you in a few hours. Hey, so I'm back. It's now 8.5 hours later. I think the foundation has held up really well on both sides. I noticed that after a few hours, the side that has the oil on, so that's this side, it started to look just slightly more dewy right in here. By no means did it look oily or greasy. It didn't break down the foundation at all. It just looked slightly dewier compared to the side without any oil. I actually, as soon as I put it on and I powdered and I'd finished up my makeup, I went downstairs earlier and I asked my boyfriend to sort of touch both sides of my face and tell me which side if he could feel basically any difference, and he did say that he felt that this side with the oil was a lot smoother, whereas this side was more powdery. And when I'd applied the powder and everything, my face basically looked the same on both sides, but he said he definitely could feel that it was smoother on this side. I definitely do think it felt smoother on this side, although overall the look was the same. This side is just slightly dewier, but I'd say it's negligible really. If you're really like looking at it, it is just slightly more dewy on this side compared to this side, but as I said, it isn't much. I think the dryness is the same on both sides. I am just still slightly dry on my nostrils, but overall it's held up really well. I'll just go ahead and give you a real up close shot just so you can see the two sides compared to each other. The one thing I would say is that my blush did stick slightly more to the side with the oil. I noticed that once I powdered down both sides, this side just did feel a little bit more, I want to say sticky, but it just felt a little bit more moist than this side, which did feel quite powdery. So my blush did stick in this area, but it was easy enough to sort of swipe some of it off and it was fine, but that's just something to be aware of. I think at the start my under eyes looked a bit better on this side with the oil, but once I powdered them down, my two under eyes looked exactly the same, and they look exactly the same now as well. But I do think I'll continue to use this product. It did make my skin feel really nice. Even now, that side feels slightly more hydrated, I guess, compared to this side. So it just really made my skin feel really good. My foundation glided on really easy onto this side because it had something to mix with, and really it blended in really easy. And I just think that it didn't really affect the performance of my foundation. I do have, as I said, an oily T-zone, but it has been having some dry patches as well. It didn't really make my oil any worse, but it also didn't make my dryness any better. So I just think that overall it felt nice on my skin, it felt nice throughout the day, it didn't really affect the performance of my foundation, and because it felt nice, I will keep using it. I don't think it's an essential part of anyone's kit. I don't think it's revolutionized my makeup or anything, but I do think I'll continue to use it. I am glad I bought it, and I think it gets a thumbs up from me, although I wouldn't necessarily say you need to go out and buy this, you need to have this. But I think if you're interested in trying these types of primers, you're interested in adding an oil to your routine just to make your skin feel really plump, I think it's a good one to have. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to follow me on all my other social medias. I do have an Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, trying to think of Facebook, you know, all those there. I'll have them linked down below. Please like this video if you found it useful and comment down below with any questions you have. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.